Emma arranged the dolls in her small room. She carefully set each one in place, combed her hair. Each doll had a name. They were all dressed in beautiful dresses and behaved royally in each game. Emma, too, was like her dolls. Beautiful, neat, always with her hair pulled back and in a clean dress. She behaved politely, cautiously, always obeyed her elders. And Emma had a brother, James, the exact opposite of her sister. James was constantly throwing his things away, not putting away his toys, breaking Emma's toys and things of his parents. He was a real bully. He forgot to say thank you, was naughty, and did not listen to anyone. And now James stormed into the children's room, which was the only one for both of them, and demolished all of Emma's dolls. The girl groaned and muttered, "James, where are you going? You need to watch your step. Look what you have done." James stopped for a minute, looked around, and then said, "Well, what have I done? So your dolls fell down. So what? I have an important case. I do not care about your toys." "Mama," called Emma. Soon Barbara, the mother of the 3-year-olds, arrived. She looked around the room and then turned to James. "You again. How many times have I told you not to stop your sister playing? Why can't you go into the room quietly? Why are you making a nuisance of yourself? I know that you did it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. There's nowhere to go." She was sitting in the middle of the room. I didn't even see her. Either I would have stepped on her, or I would have stepped on the toys. There is nowhere to go because your toys are all over the place, and I told you yesterday to put them away. Look how clean your sister's place is. Why is it so hard for you to put the cars away? It takes a long time, and now I'm busy with a very important thing," waved off James. "You've been making excuses for so long. Daddy stepped on your car in the hallway at night. Your toys are everywhere. James, I'll give you until tonight to put everything in its place." Mum concluded, and then she left the room. James did not answer anything, but continued to do his business. "Now I'm going to go fly a kite with the boys. It's so big, you can't imagine," he said admiringly. "Mum said to put the toys away," Emma answered him, putting the dolls back in their places. "What a drag. I can put the toys away later." The boy took the kite and ran out of the room, almost hitting the dolls again. Emma covered them with her hand. She looked after her brother, shook her head, and then continued playing. In the evening, of course, James did not put the toys away. Her mother did not make a row before she went to bed, and asked Emma not to interfere. In the morning, Emma woke up first. She immediately went to wash her face, and then sat down and began to comb her hair in front of the mirror. James woke up later. He jumped out of bed as usual and ran to get his favorite robot, with which he usually had breakfast. The boy was very surprised when he saw that all the shelves were empty. He looked around. None of his toys were there, only his sister's. James looked into the drawers and boxes, but even they were empty. Not a single car, not a single soldier, even a kite, which yesterday James had left on the windowsill, had disappeared somewhere. The boy fussed. He began to look where they could have gone. He even got under the bed, but they were not there. "Emma, did you take my toys?" "No, I didn't see your toys. We went to bed together. They were still here." James ran downstairs worriedly. His mother had already made breakfast. "Good morning. Have you washed your face yet?" she asked as usual. "Good morning. Mum, here's the thing. Do you know where all my toys are?" At that time, Emma came into the kitchen. She sat down at the table and listened to the conversation with interest. "I haven't seen your toys. I asked you to put them away all day, but you didn't listen to me. When you went to bed, your toys were still scattered. They looked very sad and upset. Maybe they were hurt and left you for other kids who would cherish them and appreciate them. Where did they go? Where can I find them now?" "I do not know. I do not know." Mum shook her head. "Maybe you should go and ask Grandpa," Emma suggested. "Good idea. Grandpa has been mowing the grass outside the house since morning. If they went outside, he definitely saw them." "That's right, we should go to him. Emma, will you come with me?" The girl nodded in response, and her brother began to finish his breakfast quickly. Then he literally jumped out of his chair and ran into the yard. Emma could barely keep up with him. "Grandpa, tell me, have you seen where the toys have gone?" "No, I didn't see where they went, but when I was mowing, I found your car." The man reached into his pants pocket and pulled out a toy. James took it and twirled it in his hands. "What are we going to do?" Emma asked. "Tell me, where did you find it?" Grandpa pointed to the shed. "There, it was lying there," he smiled. "Wait, I'll take the typewriter back to the place," said James to his sister. He ran upstairs to the room, carefully put the typewriter on the shelf, and then went back to the yard. There he took his sister by the hand, and then they went to the barn. James ran into it first. He started looking for toys everywhere. Under the drawers, in containers, in boxes. They were nowhere to be found. Then Daddy came in. "Are you looking for something?" Daddy asked. "Have you seen my toys? They had gone somewhere. Grandpa found a car by the barn. I think they're here. I looked all over, but I couldn't find them." "No, I haven't," Daddy sighed. "What a pity," said Emma. "What shall we do now?" "Wait, I found a soldier here behind the house, lying in the grass. I did not pick it up. I thought you scattered your toys again." Joyfully, James ran behind the house and Emma followed him. They began to carefully examine the lawn. "I found it," shouted his sister. "Come here." James ran up to her and took the toy. He shook off the dirt and grass and put it in his pocket. Then he looked around for the other toys. Then he started walking along the fence until he saw a small gap in it. "I think that's where they are," the boy suggested. Emma looked into the gap and saw a car and an uncle who was about to leave for town. The children looked at each other, and then they ran beyond the fence and approached the man. Uncle, wait a minute." "What is it, kid? You wanted to say goodbye?" "I didn't want to wake you up. You were sleeping so loudly," he answered with a smile. "We didn't want to say goodbye. We wanted to ask you something. Have you seen my toys? We've been looking for them for a long time. They have gone in some direction, but no one knows where." "I saw them." Emma and James did not expect such an answer. Where did you see them? Where did they go?" "They are in my trunk." "Really? That's great. So we found them. Give it to me." The uncle thought for a minute. "Is it worth it?" "The toys asked me to take them to town and give them to other children. They said you treated them badly. I don't think they want to come back to you. You don't like them at all." "That's not true. I love them. I love them very much." "Then why did you treat them like that? The car has no wheel because you threw it on the floor. The little soldier has no foot because you stepped on it. And the gun is left in the rain and rusty. I won't do it again. I'll clean them up." "Do you promise?" Uncle asked sternly. "I promise," James nodded. "Well, I will come back in a week. If the toys complain, I will take them away." "And I'll see to it," assured Emma. Uncle went to the trunk, opened it, and took out all of his nephew's toys. James took the bags and muttered, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again." He ran upstairs and began arranging his toys in their places, wiping each one gently. Some of them he even managed to subdue. This story that happened to James turned out to be very instructive. After that, he became more careful and careful. He remembered it for the rest of his life, and even now, 30 years later, he remembers it. James was now 36 years old. He was sitting on a bench in a yard, remembering his childhood with his uncle. "So whose idea was it with the toys?" James asked him. Uncle Michael smiled. "Your mother's. She was always inventing things, and she asked all of us to play along with her. It all turned out to be crazy, of course, but it worked, didn't it?" "You're right. Yes, it worked. And the little man who eats my candy when I don't finish my soup was her idea too." "It was hers," laughed Michael, "and the evil toothbrush and the harmful blanket and all the other things your mother made up." James smiled and looked at the time. Emma was about to drive up. As soon as he said that, the gate opened and a beautiful, well-groomed woman of 35 entered. "Sister," James rushed to her. "You're beautiful. I haven't seen you for 5 years." "You do not change at all. I completely agree with your brother. A real beauty," smiled his uncle and hugged her. "Thank you for your kind words. I'm very glad to see you. Well, where is Mum?" It was their mother Barbara's 16th birthday today. Their children and her brother wanted to give her a real birthday present. They arrived at exactly 2 o'clock as promised, but she wasn't home. Mum wasn't home, so we went all the way around. The door was open. "Maybe she went out to a neighbor's house," Emma suggested. "Maybe. How strange. Mum didn't even set the table. Maybe she didn't have time. Anything is possible. Maybe she didn't sleep well. Shouldn't we take her to a cafe or order food?" She'll come and we'll decide. Do you have the present, Emma? Yeah, it's in the car. Can you bring it? Michael nodded and went to get his niece. They brought the multi-cooker, brought it home and put it on the table. Emma put the kettle on, and the men helped set the table. Suddenly, they heard a familiar voice. Good afternoon, my dears. I didn't hear you arrive. Everyone turned around abruptly. Mum came out of the room as if nothing had happened. Mum, hi, where have you been? Surprised, her daughter asked. In the room, she answered calmly. I checked, you weren't there. Yes, so not in the room? And then, as if nothing had happened, went to the sink and washed her hands. The children looked at each other but remained silent. Barbara poured herself a cup of tea and then said, I was not expecting you. I'm sorry, I didn't cook anything. You didn't expect me? My son was surprised. We called you to say we'd be here Friday at 2 o'clock. Yeah, I don't remember. I guess I've been too busy. What happened? What's with all three of you coming over all of a sudden? It's your birthday. It's your anniversary. We came to congratulate you. That's right, an anniversary. It's good that you didn't forget it. We'll celebrate it. Call Mary. We'll bake a cake with her. Where is she? Still asleep in her crib? Barbara smiled. Emma sighed heavily, and then went over to her mother and sat down next to her. She hugged the woman and stroked her back. Mummy, my darling. Mary is 10 years old now. She is in school, and now she is at home, in class. It cannot be, how quickly she has grown. My mother noted and covered her mouth with her hand from excitement. I'll take Mama upstairs and help her get dressed. She can't celebrate in a robe. And you order some food, okay? Emma suggested. She took her mother under her arm. They went up to the second floor. Yeah, Mum's not feeling well at all, said James. It all started about 5 years ago after my father died. Barbara started to go crazy little by little. She constantly forgets everything, and sometimes even to eat. I came a couple of times. She even had an empty fridge. I brought food, only she doesn't even touch it, and she doesn't remember whether she ate or not. Why didn't you tell me? We were here a year ago. I knew about the partial memory loss, of course, but I didn't know she was starving, said James, surprised. I didn't have the chance to tell you. Besides, what would you do? You live far away in another city, and I periodically bring food and ask the neighbor to watch your mother if possible. It's a nightmare, of course. We took her to the doctors a couple of years ago, and they only show their hands. They say it's age-related, but she's still young. Okay, what should we order? Because they'll be back soon and we haven't done anything. Let's have some pies, Michael suggested. James agreed. They started to order. In an hour, everyone was sitting at the table eating pies. Barbara really liked them. That's what she said. Thank you, my dears. Very delicious. I haven't eaten such pies for a long time, even remembered my youth. The children smiled. Mom was really happy that day. That's what they thought. Mom, we brought you a present. It must be hard for you to cook food. So here's the multi-cooker. Uncle will show you how to operate it. It's very simple. Thank you, Mom replied, without even looking at the gift. I'm sorry, but I think it's time for you to leave. I still have some things to do. I wonder what? Emma smiled. I want to spend the rest of the day with Andrew, she said quietly. James almost choked on his food. Andrew was the name of his father who had passed away 5 years ago. Michael looked at his nephews and then put his finger to his lips, as if to ask them not to ask any unnecessary questions. Okay, Emma nodded. Come on, let's go. We have a long way back. Everyone got up from the table. The children kissed Barbara and promised to keep in touch by phone. Michael, as always, replied that he was ready to help and come over if she needed anything. They said goodbye and left. A week passed. James called his uncle. Hi, am I interrupting? Not at all. How's your mom doing? Have you been to see her? I'm going to tomorrow. I called her the other day and she said that she didn't need anything, but I'm going to the grocery store anyway. I called too, and she didn't pick up. She can't hear very well. I guess she didn't notice. She doesn't usually call back. I'll call you when I get there and let you know how she's doing. Michael assured him. I've been thinking all week. Maybe I should take her to my place. Something worried. With her memory is very bad and it seems to be delirious. I'm scared for her. It won't work. I tried. I persuaded her. So she became so hysterical, saying, I will not leave the house, not leave Andrew. even became scary. I assured her that no one would take her. She barely calmed down, even drank valerian. So it won't work. Don't even try. Oh yeah. What do you want me to do then? James said slowly. She'll forget to turn off the stove and then she'll start a fire. She never turns it on. Don't worry, the neighbor is always on guard. Everything will be all right. Just call her often. That's all. Well, if you can, you should come visit. Maybe her grandchildren will make her happy. She does not remember anyone else except Mary. If strangers come to her, she'll be scared. Do you know how it hurts the children? They're little. They don't understand why their grandmother doesn't remember them. Oh, I see, said Michael. Well, I'm waiting for a call. Tomorrow I'll say hello from you. The men said goodbye and hung up. In the evening of the next day, James got a call from Michael. Hi. Well, in general, there's nothing to tell. Everything is as usual. She wasn't at home. Then she showed up. There was some food. She even ate breakfast. I chatted with her, dropped off the groceries, and she sent me away. How does she feel now? James asked. She says she is fine, but she forgets to take pills that the doctor prescribed. I see. Okay, I'll try to call her. Keep me posted, okay? Okay. James hung up and dialed Emma, told her everything he knew, and then went back to work. 2 months had passed. Emma periodically called her mother. She assured me that she was doing well. Michael went to her house, bringing her groceries. One day a neighbor called and said that Barbara had been taken away by ambulance. James was on a business trip and could not come up, and Emma was on vacation in another country. Michael went to his sister. He asked the doctors about everything, and they said that they would let him know when they knew something. A couple of days later, the woman died. Emma, having learned the news, returned on the first flight. She immediately went to her mother's house. James arrived there as soon as he could. Everyone got together. Barbara was buried. No one wanted to stay in the house, so they left for their homes. Barbara did not have a will, so the children inherited the house. They did not want to sell it. They decided to leave it to Michael so they would have a place to relax in the summer. One day, Emma called her uncle. Hi, where are you now? At home, reading a book. I got carried away with it. Aren't you going to the cottage to rest? I'm not. Do you want to go? I want to come to the New Year with my family to get some fresh air. Shashliks in the countryside, a Christmas tree in the yard. Beautiful. James wants to go too. Go on, have a rest. Come with us. It's been a long time since we got together. Come, it'll be fun, Emma suggested. Well, I'll think about it. Maybe I will if there are no other plans. Don't make it up. What plans? I know you'll spend a holiday at the TV, and at least here you'll have some fun with the kids. Michael didn't have a wife and kids. Somehow it didn't work out. He lived alone in a one-room apartment in town. He had long since retired and lived to his own satisfaction. He thought about the fact that he really had no plans and eventually agreed. Okay, I'll be there. Then on the 13th there. What should I bring? Nothing. Just don't forget yourself, laughed Emma. Bye. See you in a week. See you later, Michael answered and hung up. On the 13th evening, everyone met at the Daha, as the family called it. The men warmed up the house, the women cooked dinner. Everyone ate dinner and went to bed early. On the 31st, the real rush began. Emma's daughter Mary, who had already turned 15, was decorating the Christmas tree. 10-year-old twins Kate and Lola, James's daughters, were serving balloons. Michael and Emma's husband built a fire in the yard. Emma and her brother's wife were cooking in the kitchen. To their surprise, the multi-cooker was still in the box, unopened. They unsealed it and used it since there were few utensils in the house. James tried to tune the TV so that everyone could hear the chimes on New Year's Eve. Everyone went about their business, joking, having fun. When everything was ready, the children were put to bed so that they wouldn't get up on New Year's Eve. In general, everyone fell asleep except Emma. She could not sleep for some reason. She was sitting in her mother's room, leafing through an album. The door opened a little. Her brother looked in. Why aren't you asleep? I don't feel like it. I came here and saw the album. I got nostalgic. James came into the room and sat next to her. Wait, is that me? He asked, pointing at the photo. Yes, it's you. Remember, Mom wanted to take a picture of us all for New Year. I was dressed up in a beautiful snow-white dress, made pigtails with big bows, And my dad wore his favorite suit, the only one he had, and my mum wore her polka dot dress. You wore a shirt and pants and a bow tie. Daddy's, by the way. That's right, I remember. We stood by the tree and we put the camera on a timer. Everyone started to line up, and all of a sudden, I got out of my seat and ran and decided to have a salad. Emma laughed. Yes, Mum was telling you. Hurry up, James, run over here. I was in such a hurry that I dropped the salad on myself and my white shirt. James slapped himself on the forehead. Nightmare. The lettuce was everywhere. On the carpet, on the table, and on me. The main thing, I froze and stood there. Yes, and Mum is looking at you with horror, and the camera clicks at the same time. Anyway, here it is, the New Year's Eve picture. Without you, and with a funny face of Mum. Emma laughed louder, handing the picture to her brother, who also laughed. It took so long to clean you, I remember, and we decided not to take any more pictures. We didn't. Mum wanted to do it again, but the film ran out, so they took a separate picture of me at the tree. It was springtime. My mum put it up on purpose, dressed me up, and took pictures. It was very hot. It was horrible. You were always like that, Emma smiled back. You were restless and noisy, caused a lot of trouble, broke my toys, got dirty all the time. Yes, poor mother. Where did she get so much patience? I wish I had some, just a little bit. Yes, I wouldn't mind either. Emma suddenly got out of bed and went to the closet. Listen, I saw a box here on the closet. Shall we get it? I wonder what's in it. Come on. He pulled out a chair and pulled out a box. When he picked it up, a picture flew off. It fell right behind the cabinet. Hold it up, he said to his sister, and handed the box to her. Emma took it and put it on the bed. What is it? There's some picture fell down behind the closet. We'll have to move it. Take it out. James got off the chair and began to push the closet. When he managed it, he went to get the photo. Emma, come here, he called to his sister. There's something under the carpet, a cellar of some kind. Did we have a cellar? He asked from behind the closet. No, we didn't. Well, I don't remember, at least. Emma stepped closer and saw a piece of carpet that had been folded away, and behind it a small door in the floor. She helped her brother open it. An unpleasant smell hit her nose from there. Emma scratched her nose. James switched on the small flashlight he had in his pocket and climbed in first. Emma followed. They went down into a small room. James began to shine the flashlight on it, and suddenly Emma cried out, and her brother put the flashlight on the floor. Did you see that? Yes, I saw it. There was someone's silhouette. It looked like a man. Emma spoke softly. Hey, who's there? But no one answered her. The woman backed away frightened and put her back against the wall. She hit the switch and the light came on. James and Emma began to look around the room in surprise. Emma walked forward. They were in a small room. There was a closet with her mother's dresses. Emma opened it and found there also shoes and accessories. Next to the closet was a television. It stood on a small pedestal, but it did not work because there were no outlets. On the walls hung portraits, mostly of the young Barbara and Andrew separately and together. The room was neat. Everything in it had been thought out to detail. But what struck the brother and sister the most was what was in the center. There was a table that was covered with a white tablecloth with embroidered blue roses. On the table were plates and glasses with wine in them. There was food on the plates. It was untouched. It gave off an unpleasant smell. The food was blackish gray and in some places moldy. There was a chair on one side of the table. It was empty, and a mannequin was sitting on the other. It looked like a man. The mannequin wore a suit, a homemade wig, and a mustache. Faith covered her mouth with her hand. God, he looks like our father. Look, he's wearing his costume, and the hair and the mustache look just like Dad's. That's right, that's the same suit we saw in the picture in Mum's room. Do you know what's going on in here? What is this room? My sister said anxiously. James shrugged his shoulders. I have no idea. I don't even have a clue. It's crazy. Suddenly there was a sound outside. Michael was calling to Emma. James went upstairs, told him to close the door to the room, and then, just a minute later, the men went back downstairs to Emma. Uncle Michael was no less shocked by what he saw. My God, what's going on here? What is this furniture and mannequin? We're trying to figure it out ourselves, but I think I have an idea, Emma sighed. I think that when Dad was gone, Mum really went crazy and created this room, brought in a mannequin, spent these days here. Look, they ate together in here, drank wine. She communicated with him like that, I guess. Looks like it, James answered. Remember when we arrived, Mum was nowhere to be found, and then she came out of her room. We wondered how that could have happened, so she was here. And really, what else could she have been, said Michael. That's why she was always in a hurry, always trying to get us to leave. And that's what spending time with Andrew meant. It's all true. Only one thing I can't understand, how she always pushed the closet. I mean, it's heavy. Yes, and we would have heard, said Emma thoughtfully. It's simple. The closet was there recently. It wasn't there, or rather it was in another corner. I moved it a year ago. I don't remember why. And you didn't notice the door under the carpet? James wondered. No, I didn't pay attention. I must have been in a hurry. Michael shrugged. What shall we do? Emma asked. I propose to leave it as it is and not tell anyone. Let it be our own secret, suggested his uncle. I agree. We'll just take the plates and glasses, because rats and cockroaches have probably got here. James helped his sister collect the dishes, and they went upstairs. Michael carpeted the door and put the closet back. He looked around the room one more time and went out. After all, it was time to get ready for the New Year's Eve.